All right, everybody. Thanks for hitting the download button. You're listening to the Flat Out Podcast with your host, Lion Luke. Today, we got my special guest, DR.Tom, the one, the only, the inspirational kind of guy he is, the Southern Gentile. We're talking about Backlash 2017. I know I'm a week late, but I got a life, and I don't get paid to do this, so I do it on my time. But I appreciate you listening. So anyways, we're going ahead and get to that. It's going to be part one. Now, as you hear towards the end of the podcast, he was at work, so we had to end it a little early, but don't worry. I was able to hook back up with him for a part two to finish out the Backlash pay-per-view, and I'm going to have that coming to you real short and sweet. So, as always, strap up, sit down, stand up, take a drink, don't drink. I don't care what you do. Just go ahead and get ready to listen. All right, welcome back to the Flat Out Podcast. Tonight we have a little bit of Backlash pay-per-view talk, and with me today is the one, Tom. Tom, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing just fine. I'm glad everybody's here listening to us.
All the 0 listeners I have.
All these 2 viewers you got listening.
All the 0 people. So when I called
I am a old-time wrestler.
Yeah, that's
I
what
quit watching wrestling back in 2000. So this is exciting for me.
Yeah, you stopped watching before before WCW went out of business and everything.
Yeah, they were still running strong when I quit.
Yeah, so you might be excited to know.
I got busy with college, so.
Oh yeah, so did I. That's the reason I loved it when torrents became available.
Oh yeah, that's before everything got illegal. You could download anything.
Yeah, you'd be excited to know that Sting came back a couple years ago on a WrestleMania and wrestled Triple H.
Are you kidding about the? Oh, Triple H is back too.
Yeah, Triple H never left. He's like
well, I know he went into management there for a while.
Yeah, he's like the COO of the whole frickin' place.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but he still wrestles, and usually like just on WrestleMania, and that's it.
Right. He paid his dues. All
right, so like I said, you haven't watched wrestling in a long time, so this had to have been different for you compared to the way it was.
Yeah, there were some differences I noticed. I got a chance to go back and watch the old. What was it? It wasn't WrestleMania. It was Uncensored 2000.
Oh yeah, with Goldberg.
The last one I remember watching. So yeah, that was. If I'm not mistaken, it had Lex Luger versus Sting, and it had Sid Vicious versus Jeff Jarrett, and then it was the final match of Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair in a strap contest where they were whipping each other.
Oh yeah. I remember that. So, but
yeah, good times.
Before we even get into this, real quick, was there a big difference for you as far as what it was like back then to what it is now?
Well, there seems to be more storytelling now. Every once in a while they'd have something pop up, and people in the background or surprise guests that you would wonder who is this that's coming out.
Right.
And but now they give a whole backstory of why people are in the feuds that they're in, and it seems well thought out. I know there's a lot more money that seems to be put into it.
I tell you, if you want to see a good story, go back and watch the promo package and the wrestling match. I think it was WrestleMania 17. It was The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin for the title. And the promo package they had with that was absolutely amazing. The music they had in the background and everything that they did with it. It was probably one of the best promo packages I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, still to this day, it's one of the best. It was just really well done. The music worked perfect with the story that they were trying to convey and everything.
Yeah, I have to do that.
Yeah, and Stone Cold and The Rock, two of the bigger, superstars in the history of the business.
Yeah, this was before he got hurt, or was it after he got hurt?
Well, he got dropped on his head in, I believe it was 98, and that put him out for a while, and that pretty much shortened his career by a big time. And then he ended up having to get surgery done in 2000 and came back in 2001, and then he retired in 2003. So
Yeah, it's short-lived, but man, when he was there, I was watching him.
Oh yeah,
Austin 316. He still got a podcast now, don't he?
Oh yeah, I listened to it. Yeah, it's good. The Stone Cold, the Steve Austin show, I think it's called.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
that's where he interviews a bunch of the older wrestlers.
Yeah, he does. Well, yeah, he does more than that. He does kind of like what I do too. That's where I kind of got the idea from, just talking about everyday life. And he'll have wrestlers on there and just all kinds of different people. Like there's one from a couple weeks ago where he did an interview with a guy who builds them old neon signs and stuff still yet, with the tube bending and all that stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then, he made it interesting, which is, I didn't think that I'd ever listen to an interview about a guy who builds neon signs and enjoy it.
Well, it's hard not to listen to that guy and smile every once in a while,
Yeah, he's a funny dude. So we had Backlash. That was last Sunday, 5/21. That came from, Chicago, right?
Yeah, Chicago.
So
big place. Thousands of people, seems like.
Oh, yeah, something like 15,000, 20,000 people. I mean, the fact that they're still bringing in those kind of numbers is just amazing to me. I don't see how they do it, especially in this day and age when everyone knows, that it's, predetermined and everything.
Well, just like anything else, everybody needs somebody to look up to. And wrestling provides these larger-than-life people to look up to. I remember back when I was younger that we would go and try to pretend to be someone else, and we'd have these big wrestling matches and throw each other on mattresses, and sometimes on the ground, too.
Through walls, off trampolines, into the pool, on the freaking dirt. How any of us growing up during that time around each other is still walking is a miracle. We were backyard wrestling before.
Grow up tough. Yeah,
we were backyard wrestling before backyard wrestling was a thing. And they'd really put those moves on you, man. When some of the the kids we grew up with, some of the older kids would put a figure 4 leg lock on you. Guess what? You were getting a figure 4 leg lock put on you. There wasn't nothing fake about that. If you didn't get
I remember throwing my brother in a sharpshooter, and that tough son of a gun would not tap. I swear I made him cry, and he just kept going.
I'm telling you, man.
You got to be tough growing up,
Oh, yeah, especially down in the hills, man. You didn't, if you got satellite That's TV, right. It was, you were lucky. What do you got? You got your notes in front of you there?
Yeah, we got them here. We had...
I did not watch the pre-show. Did you watch the pre-show?
No, I didn't get to watch the pre-show.
I didn't watch the pre-show either. They had one match on there, and it was like, it's on the pre-show. What's it matter? I don't care. I never watched the pre-show. If it was important to be on the show, right?
I watched the introduction and stuff, and one thing that I noticed was that they have multiple announcers now in all these different languages.
Oh, God, yeah, I know.
Used to be you had these set 3 announcers, that was it, or at least WCW was. And every once in a while, you'd have somebody come out from the back, and it'd be one of the other wrestlers or managers or something, and they would help them during one of the matches. They had several different people. They had stuff from, like, Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Russia, Germany, and China. I mean, it was
it's something to see. And they're in like something like 50 some odd countries or something.
Wow.
That
is impressive.
Yeah, and they have announcers for all the different languages, Mandarin and Russian and Polish and all kinds of junk. But
that is impressive.
Now,
no wonder that Trump wants to bring in McMahon to help. He offered his daughter a position in the cabinet. Did you hear about that?
Well, yeah, but Linda is actually part of the cabinet now. Linda McMahon, the wife of Vince.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know that there was talks, but I didn't know that it actually happened.
Yeah, Linda McMahon's part of his cabinet now. She ran for Senate or something like that, and she lost. And then when he won the presidency, he offered her a position.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that. I knew it was in the works, and at first I thought it was a joke, but...
No, she's serious.
I can see why.
No, she ran for, a governor, and then she lost. She ran for Senate, and then she lost. And then that's one of the reasons that the WWF has went so PG, so kid-friendly lately, since, 2006-ish, so about 10 years now. is because Linda McMahon started campaigning, and you couldn't have, people flipping each other the birds and cussing at each other on TV when you're trying to run for state office.
Oh, good times, though,
Oh, of course.
You got to miss that.
I do miss it.
But I understand, I wouldn't want my kids watching that either.
Yeah, I let my kid watch it with me now, and if it said all that stuff, I probably wouldn't have let him watch it.
So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into this, because I say we've talked for a good 30 minutes without even mentioning anything here.
All right, so we're from Chicago. Now, the first match that we have is what? We had Dolph Ziggler versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, he's got to be one of the best music entrances that I have seen in a long time. You had people singing out in the background, chanting his music.
Oh, yeah. The music is amazing.
I was like, wow, this is something that I could probably listen to myself. And it was good entrance. And it was his debut.
Yeah, it was his debut on the main roster, yeah.
Yeah, he definitely lived up to it. It was actually one of the better matches of the night. It was a good opener, I thought.
Yeah, it's a good curtain jerker. He's definitely a different kind of cat. They call him the Prince of Strong Style, which Strong Style is just basically being as stiff and realistic as you possibly can without murdering the next person. Yes,
there's a few moves on there that I was like, oh, Lord.
Yeah, they call him the King of Strong Style.
I've seen some similarities in that match that kind of reminisce of old times. Like when Dolph Ziggler came out, I was like, man, this guy kind of reminds me of Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, there you go.
He might be a little Shawn Michaels wannabe.
Yeah.
And he did have the super kick.
Mm-hmm.
And, it seemed like that was the theme of the night. Everybody liked super kicks for some reason.
Yeah, the super kick's a big thing.
One person had this move, and now everybody's got it.
That's one of the problems, is everyone's does all the same moves. Everyone's diving out, so whenever someone dives out of the ring, it's just like, no big deal. All 4 matches before you've done it too, so what's the big deal,
Everybody's about to die now, unless you go and, twist somebody's ankle up over their head or something, you're not really doing anything new. It still hurts, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Nakamura, he comes out, and I'm like, oh, crap, he forgot to shave half of his head. And it kind of reminded me, it was like, well, he could wear a suit with one side black and one side white, and look like a completely different person from profile angles,
Going out there looking like Two-Face.
Half man, half woman looking thing going on.
Yeah.
But, it was a good match.
We had Nakamura going over Ziggler. Now, you probably wouldn't believe it if I told you, but Ziggler's a former world champion.
Yeah, that's what they said. It's two-time world champion, wasn't it?
2-time world champion, yeah.
Yeah.
He's good.
And,
he's good. They're both good.
The only person that I knew in this whole entire pay-per-view was the main event of Randy Orton. The rest of the people I did not know. So all these people I was looking at for the first time.
Well,
and
they got
just to say this being just something new, it didn't disappoint. It was a good pay-per-view. I liked it.
It was a good pay-per-view. I give WWE a hard time a lot, but this was actually a really, really decent pay-per-view. I'd have to get it a good B+. There's some things in there I can nitpick that keeps it from being an A, but that's just the critic in me. Now, as someone who's just watching it, like if I was a teenager or whatever, just watching it and I didn't know all the ins and outs of the business and all the backstage, stuff that goes on. If I just watched it as a regular TV show, I would have liked it a lot.
Right.
The younger me, the fan in me liked it. The critic in me can nitpick it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, when you go to critically pull something apart, you can always find things, wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's like the little skits that they put between the matches. The one that came directly after the Ziggler versus Nakamura match.
Right,
the Fashion Police skit.
So we got the Fashion Police.
What in the world is this?
In the modeling and fashionista industry, outfit-based offenses are considered especially repulsive. In the WWE Universe, dedicated garment gumshoes who investigate these faux pas are members of an elite squad known as the Fashion Police. These are their stories.
Dun, dun.
And the guy kisses him and says, you're a pretty Prince Pretty is what it was. Like,
Prince
what?
Pretty, yeah.
Like, seriously? You have this Disco Inferno looking Fandango. I don't know if you remember Disco Inferno.
Oh, of course I do. Of course I remember Disco.
Yeah. And, he reminds me of a knockoff of him, the Spanish version of Disco Inferno. And he's sitting here telling this guy that he's a Prince Pretty. And the guy's dressed up as a janitor. And what in the world he's got on his head? It's like he's got a condom or something wrapped over top of his head.
I think it was supposed to make him look like he was bald, like a janitor.
Yeah. But at the beginning, I was like, I was scratching my head wondering what was going on, but it led directly into the next match, which was a tag team match.
Yep, we had a
tag team. It was
team
Breeze
match.
and Fandango versus Jimmy and Jay Uso brothers.
The Usos.
I'm guessing they're brothers. They call them the Usos.
Yeah, they're brothers. They're actually The Rock's cousins.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're cousins of The Rock. Now, they're good.
When Rock first came out.
Oh, yeah, he looked ridiculous.
They had these elaborate backstories and stuff. They said he was the long-lost cousin of, who was it? Some big sumo wrestler.
You talking about, what's his, Yokozuna.
Yeah.
And it's true.
He ain't related to Yokozuna.
Yeah, he is.
Is he really?
Yeah. Do you remember the Barbarian and Haku from WCW?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. He's related to them, too.
Well, I didn't know that. I thought he was just, Rocky Maivia boy.
Yeah, he is.
Which
but
was, he was a pretty good wrestler back in the day.
Yeah, it's the whole Samoan tree, man. They got, so many people in the wrestling industry that, some of them have died. Obviously, like Yokozuna, he passed away. You had another guy named Umaga, that was The Rock's cousin. Another guy named Rosie, that was The Rock's cousin. Got a guy named Roman Reigns who's in there right now, but he's on Raw. Because this was a SmackDown pay-per-view. The Raw pay-per-view ain't for until another 2 weeks, I believe.
Oh, so they got different branches of the WWE?
Yeah, they split off. You got NXT, which is like their little development area, which puts on really good stuff too. Then you got SmackDown, and then you got Raw. And all three of them have their own different pay-per-views. NXT only does like 4 a year, but the other two brands do their own pay-per-views, and then they come together for the 4 big ones, like Royal Rumble and Survivor Series and WrestleMania, and I can't remember what the other one is. SummerSlam.
Okay, so they got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, they got their own pay-per-views going on for each brand. Each brand has its own championships. That's the reason you got on SmackDown, which was the Randy Orton match versus Jinder Mahal. That's for the SmackDown Championship, the World Championship. And then you got the Universal Championship over on Raw, which is their big title.
Okay, so the Universal thing, that's something new that I've not heard of.
Yeah, the Universal Championship, that's only been around like maybe 6-7 months, if that, something like that.
Okay. You see, I think the ones that I remember was the U.S. Championship, the TV title.
Oh yeah, you're thinking.
Yeah,
you're thinking WCW. Yeah, they had TV title, U.S. Championship. They had the Cruiserweight Championship. Then they had the World Championship and tag teams, obviously too.
Yeah, so all this other stuff is kind of new to me, which is kind of cool to learn.
Yeah, they've
hard to keep up with sometimes.
They've kept some of the WCW belts. Like they got the Cruiserweight Championship. Now they changed the look of it, but they got the Cruiserweight Championship from WCW. They got the United States Championships from WCW. That's still around, and they only recently, like in the last 2 or 3 years, gotten rid of the big gold belt that WCW used for their world title. That's been around forever. They just recently got rid of that one. So we got Brazongo, or the Fashion Police, versus the Usos.
Fandango, yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think of that
Brazongo
match?
is what they call it.
I thought
it was okay.
It was hilarious.
I enjoyed it. It was funny.
It was hilarious. I haven't laughed out loud at a match in a while. When he did that slow rolling across the ring to get away from the Uso trying to get up on the top rope, I was like, this is so ridiculous that it's funny. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
And he gets in there with the mop, because he's dressed up as the janitor.
Oh, yeah.
And he puts it in the other guy's face and just rubs it around.
I was like, this is...
And then it disappears for a little bit and then comes back as the granny?
Comes back as the old woman,
oh.
yeah.
Yeah, I laughed on that one. That was a good one.
Now,
I liked it.
As far as a serious match, no. It was not a serious competition match, but it was funny. It was good for what it was.
Right.
It was a nice little...
It was good, clean fun. I liked it.
Yeah, it was a good, just
now, I did cover my mouth for a minute when I saw that guy kick that guy in the face.
Oh, yeah.
He was sitting on top ropes,
yeah,
and it looked like he kicked him in the nuts.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, that had to hurt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you should have seen the last pay-per-view. They had a big Irish guy named Sheamus. He actually played. Have you seen the new Ninja Turtles movie that came out last year?
Yeah.
Now you know that Bebop and Rocksteady on there.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the white guy with the red hair that got turned into Bebop? I think is who he ended up getting turned into, the pig.
Yeah, that's the guy.
That's Sheamus. Yeah.
Huh.
But they're wrestling a tag team match against the Hardy Boys. I don't remember if you remember them or not. And
Hardy Boys. Yeah, I kind of remember them.
And Jeff Hardy was on the ground on his 04s, and Shane would just come through and just whacked him in the face, and his shin actually connected with his mouth and you could see it fly across the ring, knocked Jeff Hardy's tooth right out of his mouth.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, yeah, it was bad. I was like, ooh. I was like, he got all of that one.
Well, I will give them this. Some of these moves that they pull off, they do look faker than crap. You can tell that they're, staged and all that stuff. But some of them, man, I don't know how they get by with it.
I don't know.
You look at them like, I know he felt that.
Yeah, I don't know how they get, like, some of these moves, and some of these moves are coming up in some of these matches that we're going to talk about. Like, some of them were just like, man, how did that not hurt? You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
So,
I know several of them there that I was like, oh, that hurt. That had to hurt.
So we had
all these power bombs and backbreakers and stuff that happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I don't know how they did it.
I'd have been took to the hospital. I'd have been gone.
No,
I'd have been the enemy.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying people that call this stuff fake, I'm like, go ahead and get in there and see if you can survive, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
You got football players. Football is a tough sport. We've both played it. You got football players that come in and try to do this stuff, and then they end up quitting because it's too hard. It's easy to punch someone in the mouth full force. It's not so easy to punch someone in the mouth, make it look like you're going full force, but you don't hurt them at all.
That is very hard to do, yes.
So we had the Usos. They were the tag team champions. They retained. They beat Breezango. But it was, here's the thing.
Yeah,
all
very
four of
enjoyable match.
It was funny.
Yeah, very enjoyable match.
All four of them, I knew what I was getting into, as soon as they announced that match. I was like, all right, it's going to be a comical match. If they win, it'd be cool. But if they don't, it's still going to be funny. But all four guys are very, very athletic. Fandango is really freaking good. Tyler Breeze is really, really good. I think they're misusing him a little bit, but as far as an athlete, all four of them are fantastic. And I think they can I think this is just the beginning. I think they're going to do more matches later on, once they start building up more storylines with them. And I think you'll see a little more seriousness come through. And I think eventually they're going to win the title. I'm not sure, how long down the road, but I think Breezango will eventually win the titles as that feel-good moment,
I don't know. I kind of like their style. Well, it's funny. It's nice to watch. It's a breath of fresh air, so to speak. Instead of having somebody come out there and say, "I'm going to rip out your tongue and shove it down your whatever," I don't really want to say right now because I might have some younger listeners, on here. So anyway, it's nice to watch something that will make you laugh and still give you the type of entertainment that you would expect.
Mm-hmm. Now, next up, we have Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin. Now, there was a skit before that, right? If I remember correctly.
It was an okay match for me. It was the classic underdog versus the Goliath. It was a David and Goliath kind of thing. You had Sami Zayn, which really ain't no small fellow, but he's around 220 pounds, something like that.
Soaking wet.
On the shorter side, maybe 6'2", something like that, which is not short, but it's short for a wrestler.
Right.
Versus Baron Corbin, 275, 6'8", monster of a man.
He's a big dude. Former
nasty looking hair.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's got this cocky attitude, like I'm going to just rip you in half.
He's a former cornerback for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
you know, scary dude. Wouldn't want to face him myself.
Good talker, good worker.
Buddy. Yep. And,
I didn't.
You know, one of the nastiest moves that I've seen on this was that he did a backbreaker. Baron Corbin, this big 6'8" guy, grabs Sami Zayn and does a backbreaker that I thought that he was not going to wake up from, but he did.
I'll give Sami Zayn credit, man. He sold that back injury like he was dying. And I'm sitting there going, okay, well, that's going to be it. You know, he's going to work on the back. Sami Zayn's going to lose. Just another Sami Zayn loss because this guy's been losing like crazy. And I mean, that's going to be the end.
I haven't seen any of his prior matches. So here I am watching this little guy just keep getting up after being pounded. I mean, he got whooped all through the match.
Yeah.
This Baron Corbin guy just manhandled him all the way through that match. And he comes back and wins it, which is, you know, it's kind of, didn't really expect that. I would have thought the other guy would have won, but I'm glad the little guy won. You know, the underdog thing.
Right, yeah, the underdog thing.
But the Sunset Powerbomb, that was a bad move.
I thought he could have got more of it. You know, I thought he could have made it look better.
Oh, Lord.
You know?
Yeah.
I think he messed it up a little bit.
Well, you can tell that it was kind of staged a little bit. But
yeah, I think it
still had to hurt.
Yeah, I don't know if Corbin was exactly expecting it, is what I'm saying. Because it looked like he landed a little hard.
Well, when you're that big, you don't really expect to be thrown around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember when I was younger, you know, I was a big boy. Never really left my feet much unless I jumped up off the ground, and even then it wasn't that much because, you know, I was a pretty good-sized fella.
Yeah.
And we had one of our relatives, a 325-pound monster of a man, pick me up and throw me up over his shoulders like I was nothing. You talk about being scared.
Right.
You leave your feet when you don't expect it. No, you know, it's... So I could just imagine what this guy thought, getting thrown to the ground like that. But,
now, like I said, I didn't think...
It was okay.
I didn't think Sami Zayn was going to win because Corbin was just all over him the whole entire time. And he would have these little spurts of comebacks here and comeback there, but he would always get shut back down. And then,
yeah, I was thinking,
he hit him...
The guy's putting in all the heart. He's doing good.
Yeah.
You know, he's doing all right. He stayed in there. But he's getting 12 pieces, and there's no way he's going to win.
And Corbin made that one mistake, man, and Zayn hit him with that haluva kick.
Kicked right in the face.
Oh, what a brutal move. It just looks nasty.
Yeah, that's one of those that you're like, was that real?
Yeah.
You know, they pulled that one off as a kick straight
good,
to the kick.
Good camera work and the you know, I don't know how they make it sound real, you know. I don't know if they're like slapping their leg or clapping or whatever they're doing, or actually getting a little bit of piece of them to make it sound like they're just knocking the snot out of them. But it was good. It was really good. And then he wins with it.
Nicely done.
Then he wins, and I was like, oh well, look at that. I was completely wrong. I thought he was just going to get murdered.
And that was pretty much the theme of the night for me. You know, the people that I thought was going to win lost. The people that won, I was like, how in the world did this happen, kind of thing. So there's a lot of twists and turns, and it's nice to see that it's not as predictable as I remember.
Right.
You know, so...
There towards the end, WCW was a little bit too predictable.
Yeah, you know, you knew who was going to win just by the popularity of the person.
Correct.
You know, take Bill Goldberg, for example. The guy comes in, he's built like a brick house, and he's decimating everybody. And, you know, when he come out there, he was going to win.
He was the he was the Universal Champion going into the past WrestleMania here.
Oh yeah, he came back, didn't he?
Yeah, he came back for a couple pay-per-views.
I'd have never thought that.
Yeah,
I'd have never
looked good,
that.
man.
Did he win or did he lose?
He's like 50-something years old. He ended up beating Brock Lesnar twice, and then he lost to him at WrestleMania.
Well, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that one.
It was a good one.
Was it a pay-per-view match?
Yeah, he. I believe the first match he was in was Royal Rumble. or it was either the Royal Rumble or the one before it. I can't remember. And then he was in Royal Rumble, and then he was in the pay-per-view after that where he won the championship. And then at WrestleMania, him and Brock Lesnar went at it. And Brock won.
I remember when he first came to WWE. It may have been WWF at the time. I can't remember. But his first match was against The Rock.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a funny match.
It was. It was
good.
You know,
The Rock, he sold that. He come up in there, he's like, yeah, I don't really want to fight this guy.
Would you?
And he sidestepped him, and then he speared the post. And it seemed like he was so proud of himself after that. He's like, yeah, I can do this.
Right. So we got the limo that pulls up, and good old Jinder Mahal steps out. After his two little lackeys are sweeping off that rug, making sure they're plucking all the little things off him. I thought that was a nice touch. Did you see where he plucked off a piece of dirt or something off the carpet?
Who in the world is this guy? I was like, okay, I don't know if he's Muslim or if he's Indian or what he is. And then later on, I found this out. And he's spewing all kinds of anti-American things, and he's saying that we're all hating on him and stuff. I don't even know who you are.
Right.
I don't know if I should hate you or not.
But he just looks the part, right? He just looks like the dude you want to hate.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, he's Indian descent, but he was actually born in Canada.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, he's playing it off pretty good.
He's playing it good,
got a good story
brother.
Background on it.
He's playing it good. So he spews off all his stuff, just looking like, the baddie from overseas. And then
he's playing the part to perfection.
Oh yeah,
much.
He's been doing a good job. And it's only been 4 weeks. They've only been building this guy for 4 weeks. Prior to that, he was just a guy that lost all the time, what they call a jobber or an enhancement talent. He's just there to put other people over, make them look good. And that's what he was.
John turned into that.
Yeah,
Big
and then
Show. Remember him?
Oh yeah, Big Show, yeah. But he
that's a big man. And that's what he is now. He's just there to allow
Have you seen have you seen what Big
Show
Show looks like lately?
No, I haven't.
The dude's had abs.
I heard he was trying to get in shape.
Oh, he's in fantastic shape. He's got abs.
Oh, really?
For crying out loud. A man that big has abs. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That has to be a big transformation.
Oh yeah. Big. He's down to like 376 pounds or something. Just a beast.
Wow. That is 376 pounds. That's still a huge man.
Oh,
but
very
he
huge.
had clocked over 600 pounds at one time.
Yeah. He got big. He got real fat at one time to where they ended up shipping him down to OVW at the time was their territory that they used to put new talent in to get them ready to come up to the main roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, they demoted him. He won the world championship, and they didn't like the way that he was doing things, and he wouldn't lose weight, so they shipped him down to OVW and cut his pay.
Oh, good Lord! Well, that's a good thing he got in shape then.
Yeah, well, this was back in this is like 2005 or something like that. They ended up doing that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we got
it's been a while ago.
Next, we got the man with no chin, Mr. James Ellsworth, comes out there into the ring, talking on the mic, thinks he's something real cool, and introduces his little girlfriend, Carmella.
Hey, now Carmella, she's a cute little girl. She reminds me of one of those Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't think that she'd be a wrestler. Kind of reminds me back of the old days of Tori Wilson,
I tell you,
I don't know if you remember her or not.
Oh yeah, I remember her. The women, the women that they have wrestling now, you couldn't tell it through this match. It was a 3-on-3 women's match, but the women that they have are really freaking good. I would put them on par.
I kind of noticed that as the match went on.
Oh man, you put them on par with the men. They're no longer just pretty faces that just slap and scream and pull hair and undress each other. These women can actually wrestle.
Yeah, these girls know what they're doing. They can put on a match. I'm like, wow.
So
it's changed a lot since the day of divas.
Oh yeah. They got rid of that whole divas thing about a year ago. But we have let me see, what was it? A 6-woman tag match. We had Carmella, Tamina, and Natalya.
And Natalya.
Yeah. Now Tamina,
sharpshooter girl. She's Natalya Hart.
Yeah, she is.
I didn't find out until later on in the match.
Yeah, she is the niece of Bret Hart. but she's the daughter of...
Franchise stuff there, buddy.
Yeah. Well, she's been around for a long time. She's the niece of Bret Hart. Yeah, she's the niece of Bret Hart, but she's the daughter of Jim the Anvil Neihart, if you remember him.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that's her dad, Jim the Anvil Neihart.
See, that was some of the main players back in the day. That was still when I was watching it.
Well, Tamina, she's the daughter of...
Bret Hart was still wrestling at the time.
Tamina is the daughter of Jimmy Snuka. Remember Jimmy Snuka, Jimmy Superfly Snuka?
That sounds familiar.
Oh, brada.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, brada. And then, we see, those were the bad guys. The good guys, we had Becky Lynch, the redhead chick. You have Naomi, who's the champion. The Mohawk, yeah. You got Naomi, who's the champion, and then you had Charlotte Flair.
Naomi, world's champion for the women, wasn't it?
Yeah.
She had a good intro.
Yeah. Yeah. She's got a good intro, too.
Black lights and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and the song is good. It's got like a techno beat to it.
Then you had Charlotte Flair.
Charlotte Flair.
I was like, wow, look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have a Hart versus the Flair. This is some franchise stuff going on.
Oh, yeah.
Most of these people are lineage of the people that I watch all the time.
Now, you want to talk
kind of
about...
impressed with this match.
You want to talk about someone that can work. Charlotte Flair. She is very good. My wife isn't the biggest fan of her, but she is good.
I wonder why.
She's very, very good. She, you can see a little bit of some of the same moves that Rick used to do back in the day that she's kind of adopted and made her own, but she's way more athletic than he ever could be, She used to be, she used to be some kind of gymnastics or something or another. I can't remember. But she's really good. She's got the meaning of being a professional wrestler down. And like I said, these women, man, it's not like that used to be.
Yeah, that's something that I noticed right off the bat. I was like, okay, it's going to be like back in the day. They had the whole women versus whatever. I think Lena was the first serious woman wrestler, and then Chyna came in. And
I don't even think Chyna was even thought of as a woman's wrestler. I think she was more thought of as men's wrestler. She ended up winning the Intercontinental title. First and only woman to win, a man's championship.
Yeah, she was tough.
She passed away this year.
I wouldn't want to mess with her.
She ended up dying earlier this year.
Really? I didn't know that. That's sad.
Yeah, drug overdose.
Happens to the best of them.
A lot of them go out that way for some reason. They get, I guess with this kind of work, you're working 300, days a year. You get, if you get hurt and you go down, guess what? You lose your spot and you lose a lot of money. So, you got to pop them painkillers to keep going.
Yeah, it's the name of the game.
So we had a pretty decent match with the girls here. The bad girls, and Carmella, Tamina, and Natalya was keeping Becky from being able to tag in. She finally hit Charlotte. Charlotte comes in, cleans house. She gets taken out. And then Mrs. Glow comes in, the champion, cleans house. She gets taken out. And then you have James Ellsworth, pulling the girls out before they got a chance to get pinned or whatever it was. And then here comes Natalya out of nowhere and ends up winning with the sharpshooter. I didn't see that coming.
No, I didn't either. But I'm kind of glad that it did, because it was one of those, you thought the other team had it won. If you looked down, you could have seen that. Yeah, there's more class on the other side. I think the so-called good guys should win this easily.
Right.
So I thought, they had the woman's champion on there. They had Miss Flair on there. I was like, yeah, they should be able to win this pretty easy. And then I seen moves like Carmella grabbing Charlotte by the hair and flopping her down on the ground. I was like, ouch. Yeah, it reminds me of Terry Funk versus Dustin Rhodes, when the cowbell match, when he wrapped that rope around his throat and pulled him down to the match.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, ouch.
He's still wrestling as Goldust, by the way, too.
Yeah, Goldust.
Yeah, he's still wrestling. He's over on Raw. He's slimmed down, man. He's able to do stuff in the ring that he's never been able to do because he was always heavy.
Well, that is something that I'll say about these new people. They seem to be in better shape.
Yeah, and even the older dudes, are in better shape than they were when they were in the ring.
So I don't know if they got the acting better, or if they're just performing the moves to where they're not getting hurt as bad. But they're able to perform this stuff, and you wouldn't think that they'd be able to.
Oh, yeah.
The choreography is really good.
They're
doing much better with it.
As far as the athletics go, the kids nowadays, the wrestlers nowadays are by far leaps and bounds better athletes than they were back in the 90s and early 2000s.
I don't know.
I mean, you had your
cruiserweights.
Yeah, I was going to say
Billy and Eddie Guerrero and all that stuff.
Yeah, you had certain ones, but I'm talking about people that are fighting
overall
for main titles. Yeah, overall, everyone, even the bigger dudes. Wait until you watch the Raw pay-per-view coming up. There's a guy on there named Braun Strowman, and he's about 6'7", 6'8", around 350 pounds or so. And the dude moves around like a cruiserweight. He can do all that flippity floppity stuff. He's able to do kip ups and stuff. Can you imagine a man that size doing a kip up?
Yeah, no, probably not. I haven't ordered anything, but I can talk to him.
Okay. Well, he's here to pick up shit.
Okay. Well, let me see if I have anything for him.
Okay.
Hey, let me call you back, or call me back in like 5 minutes here.
All right, we'll just end this as part 1, and then we'll come in as part 2. I want to thank you for listening to the Flat Out Podcast. That was Backlash 2017 review with the man, the myth, the legend, the one, DR.Tom. Now, the amazing one is going to be back on for part 2 of the Backlash review. As you heard, he was a little busy at work, and he was gracious enough to give me his inspirational time to go over this pay-per-view with me. Now, if you didn't notice, his point of view is very, very unique, coming from a point of view who's someone who hasn't watched wrestling on a regular basis since 1999, 1998, somewhere around there, and has probably only caught a few matches here and there, but probably nothing since 2005. So his point of view on the newer stuff is very... what's the word I'm looking for? Very refreshing. So I want to thank him again for taking the time out of his day to talk about this thing called professional wrestling, which I love, been a fan of for a very long time. And like I said, we got part 2 coming to you real soon. Still got to edit it, still got to finish it up, still got to cut all the dead noise out of it, whatever, all the little hiccups, make it sound all nice and purty. But I'm going to get it to you, so don't worry. Hold on to your pants, your socks, your shoes, whatever it is you got on. Hope you ain't running around naked, because I don't think you want to be listening to this naked. At least I don't want to hear you that you're listening to it naked. Not something I want to be thinking about. Anyways, thank you. And please comment, like, subscribe on YouTube at, YouTube Flat Out Podcast. Okay, you can find me on Spreaker at Spreaker/Lion Luke to find all the podcasts there. Now, I only got a limited amount of hours on that site, so I will be deleting some of the old ones as soon as my hours get filled up to free up some more time. It's just the way it is. So if you want to listen to them, hurry up. Get over there and download them before I end up having to delete a few of them. Now, I will have them, and I will find a way to put them back up, and they will still be on YouTube. But as far as Spreaker goes, I will have to delete them, some of the older ones. Now, if you want to email me, please do at flatoutpodcast@gmail.com. I'm also on Twitter. I don't know what word that is, but I'm also on Twitter and on Instagram at flatoutpodcast. The Twitter, I believe, is podcast. The podcast 1, I had to double check on that. I don't have that information. I'll have it in part 2 for you. How about that? Now you got 2 things to look forward to. So go ahead and hit that download button off of Spreaker. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Go ahead and look me up on Instagram. I'm putting up little clippets here and there just to kind of tease you a little bit on the things that I got coming up. And put me on Twitter too. Just go ahead and look up Lion Luke. I'll be there. So anyways, thank you. And I'll see your ass for part 2.